Tuesday marks the 5th anniversary of the Grenfell fire, in which 72 people died. 15 of those who lost their lives in the tower had disabilities, and in the subsequent inquiry, proposals were made to try and prevent such deaths in particular happening again. But the government has decided not to proceed with what disabled campaigners feel is a key plank of the reforms. Rowan Bridge reports from Manchester.
The memorial service for those who died at Grenfell was held at St Paul's Cathedral in London 6 months on.
Welcome each one of you to this national memorial service of remembrance, community and hope.
In the wake of the disaster, the government established the Grenfell inquiry. Among the recommendations in its first report was that there should be an individually tailored escape plan for any disabled person living in a high-rise, what's known as a Personal Emergency Evacuation Plan, or PEEP.
Hello.
Hello, I'm Rowan Bridge from BBC News.
I'm Vanessa, I'm Georgie support worker. Come in.
Thank you. Georgie Hulme's a wheelchair user in Manchester and lives on the 3rd floor of a set of flats. She has Tourette's and uses a text-to-speech machine to communicate. She believes PEEPs are vital.
This provides a plan so it's clear to the person and those around them, but as it lets people know what to do beforehand. They know what to do if an emergency occurs, rather than trying to work things out at the time.
Because she has limited mobility, Georgie relies on support workers like Vanessa for many everyday tasks.
I'm just doing Georgie's washing up, because she moves around the flat on her knees. She can't do this sort of thing, so I've made her a coffee, I'm doing the washing up. Just these basic household tasks that she needs help with.
The building she lives in has unsafe cladding on it, and Georgie's a co-founder of Claddag, which campaigns on the issue for disabled people. Despite the cladding, though, Georgie's had to sort out her own evacuation plan and crowdfund her own evacuation chair to get her out of the building. She's furious at the government's decision not to insist on personal evacuation plans for all high-rise buildings.
I'm outraged. Why have consultations and public inquiries if the government simply ignores overwhelming support and recommendations they don't like? This is an equality and rights-based issue, but this decision blatantly shows that the government views our lives as less.
The government's approach has led to feelings of disabled people being treated as second-class citizens. Fazilet Hadi is the head of policy at Disability Rights UK.
When you look at the consultation, 83% of the respondents are in support of evacuation plans. It's so reasonable, and it's really hard to see why the government found going ahead with emergency evacuation plans so difficult and so problematic. And it just feels like we're not equal citizens, and we are.
In its consultation document, the Home Office acknowledges widespread support for the idea of evacuation plans, but it goes on to say it thinks they're disproportionate, impractical and potentially unsafe, and it says in most circumstances it's better for people to stay where they are and wait to be rescued. Instead, it's proposing risk assessments for disabled people, focusing mainly on reducing the fire risk in their flats, and a duty to make fire and rescue services aware of where disabled people are living in a building. In a statement, the Home Office said,
"Our fire reforms will go further than ever before to protect vulnerable people. The emergency evacuation information sharing package we are consulting on would require those responsible for fire safety in higher risk buildings to properly assess the needs of the most vulnerable and take steps to mitigate any risks."
Almost 5 years on from Grenfell, the disaster still casts a long shadow. The public inquiry is ongoing, and the row over how to best protect disabled people from future disasters shows how issues raised by the fire are still yet to be resolved.
Rowan Bridge reporting.